Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot coming at you with the weekly comic book roundup. We've covered this week's X-Men books, miscellaneous Marvel stuff, Spider-Man books, Star Wars, and Magic the Gathering so far. Now it's time to most have been covering Marvel. Now it's time to move not entirely away from Marvel, but a large step away. However, we are starting off with another Marvel book, Devil's Reign, Part 1 of 6. So, okay. With the exception of the King in Black tie-ins, I have not been following Daredevil for a very long time. It's nothing against the character or the book. It's really just been timing. I think with the Chip Zdarsky run, when I got back into comics, it wasn't just starting, but it was far enough in that I didn't want to have to do a lot of backtracking. So I just kind of said, I'll probably hop on Daredevil when we get a new when a new run starts. To be fair, after Devil's Reign, I'm likely going to be hopping on Daredevil. Just saying. But what's been going on in the current Daredevil run is that Wilson Fisk, Kingpin of Crime, is now the mayor of New York City. Events pertaining to this have also been happening. Were also happening in Nick Spencer's run on Amazing Spider-Man. But yeah, Daredevil was jailed for murder. Apparently he did it. In Matt Murdock's absence, Elektra has taken on the Daredevil mantle, playing by Matt's rules, not killing. But anyway, let's get started. So, a major plot point about Mayor Fisk. He has been cracking down on vigilantes. If I remember correctly, Spider-Man is the only mass vigilante allowed to operate in New York City. He's also been doing what he can to crack down on supercriminals, mainly with kind of a you pay the king his due type of thing. You want to operate in New York, you pay the kingpin, the mayor. The mayor gets a cut. So, yeah. Anyway, so the issue begins 2 weeks ago in the Mediterranean. Brother and sister are discussing something. Two people who helped put Kingpin in the mayor's office are trying to figure out what they should continue, or if they should let that go on, or if they should maybe do something different. After all, Mayor Fisk is fairly entertaining in his antics. We then fast forward to a week ago in Hell's Kitchen. Daredevil's being Daredevil. Matt Murdock's out of jail, and he runs into the mayor. He throws a file at him. Apparently, but Fisk explains that the file in question is nothing. It should be something. It's a folder from his private safe, which he dimly remembers putting together, maintaining as Daredevil's identity. But now, when he looks at the pages, they're blank. And he swears that the Daredevil did something to his mind. Asks who Daredevil, demands to know who Daredevil is, and Daredevil says, hey, it's called a secret identity for a reason. Before swinging away. But now, Mayor Fisk announces a further crackdown on costumed heroes in New York. We get public reactions. Tony Stark thinks it's a bad idea. We're told of there being Thunderbolt squads to enforce this new law. With the people on the street type stuff. And we also see Moon Knight taking on some of the Thunderbolt's support troops, which leads to a quick vignette where after he takes on the support troops, he has to deal with the Thunderbolts themselves. This particular squad consisting of U.S. Agent, the Rhino, I think Agony, and Electro. Elsewhere, there's a there's a building fire, a apartment building on fire, and Spider-Man and Captain America are rescuing people from inside. Upon rescuing, bringing out some of the residents, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, to be clear, is arrested by Thunderbolts officers. They explain to Cap that they're not just there for Spider-Man; they're for him too. And Cap rescues Miles with an assist from the Daredevils and Spider-Man, Ben Reilly. They end up retreating to one of the rooms that was utilized by Captain America during the superhero Civil War as a hideout for the Secret Avengers, and trying to figure out and basically plan their next move. At the Baxter Building, or representatives of Fisk's office show up to basically inform the Fantastic Four that the building and contents thereof are now property of at the very least the government of the city of New York. Dr. Octopus places power inhibitor collars on both Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman. Invisible Woman manages to break away long enough from the arresting officers to signal a Code X7. Just as Thunderbolts saw, troops bust down the door and open fire on the Thing, who's protecting Valeria and Franklin. The fact that these guys shot at kids, to say it makes Ben Grimm mad is putting it lightly, but Ben, Johnny, and the kids escape in the Fantastic Car, and they head out to make sure that Alicia Grimm, Ben's wife, and their adopted children, one Kree, one Skrull, are safe. Elsewhere, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and their daughter Danny are walking along when a subway train derails. Luke and Jessica being, good people, go to help out, since they've got the ability to do so. However, it turns out that Thunderbolts are already on the scene, having taken the new Darkhawk into custody. So, Shocker throws Cage some power inhibitor cuffs, which Cage promptly crushes. And Luke manages to take down Shocker. Jessica deals with the support troops, and they also make a point of helping civilians with cameras on them. Luke gives a speech. Across town, the mayor goes to visit the new kingpin of crime, his son, explaining that he's doing this for him, but it's not what he wants. Now, to be clear, I haven't been reading Daredevil or the Spencer run on Amazing Spider-Man, so I don't know the nature of the relationship here, but a friend of the new Kingpin's steps out from a side room. It's none other than Michael Murdock, the apparent twin brother of Matt Murdock, talking with he talks with the new Kingpin and does give him a bit of a warning that, if If Fisk doesn't win the election, he might end up coming back for his old job. Because of Luke Cage's speech, him, Jessica, and Danny have to leave town, but they're met by someone more than happy to give them to help them get out of town, and with a plan to fix things. Tony Stark, who announces to Luke and Jessica that he plans to run for mayor. The Baxter Building, or 4 Yancey Street, or where. I think it actually is the Baxter Building. Dr. Octopus has discovered something very interesting. However, and informs Mayor Fisk of this. Mayor Fisk, however, wished to speak with a detainee from the raft that he had brought to it would appear, the city hall. Zebediah Kilgrave, the Purple Man. He tells him about the file, and but he knows about Kilgrave's children and realizes they're the ones who did this to him. Daredevil stated that they did without asking, to make Daredevil's identity a secret. It became public knowledge again. This time in a confirmed manner, though. But seemingly, Fisk beats Kilgrave to death. Elsewhere, Kilgrave's children, the two we saw earlier discussing having put Fisk in the mayor's office, are considering something new, something even more fun. Putting Wilson Fisk in the Oval Office. And that is where the issue ends. Let me just say that the idea of President Wilson Fisk is extremely scary, and not as scary as the thing that makes it not as scary, not too scary, is, well, shall we say, a more recent former president. But yeah, good start to Devil's Reign. As in many events, it sets up the first issue, sets up the story, and also kind of gives us a little some setups for tie-ins. But anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Batman number 118. Fear State is over, as is James Tynion IV's run on Batman. But in the aftermath of Fear State, people of Gotham are partying. They're celebrating. Things actually look good. Of course, there are still ne'er-do-wells, and a couple of them go to break into a building, and one looks up things he sees the Batman. Pretty sure he does, and then, yeah, it's Batman. And so the two would-be criminals find a cop and surrender. Batgirl, or Oracle, in her capacity as Oracle, Barbara suggests that maybe Batman could take the night off. Celebrate. He's been through, the city and him have been through so much. She asked him maybe he should be, train with maybe go home and train with Ghostmaker, but Ghostmaker has since left Gotham to begin Clown Hunter's training. But something does pop up, and a billionaire's ball in Gotham, the theme being villains of Gotham, is in full swing. Everyone there is dressed as one or another well-known Gotham villain. We got a few Jokers, a few usually with Harley Quinns on their arms. Various Catwomen, including a nod to the Julie Newmar outfit. Some Scarecrows, some Poison Ivies, some Riddlers, some Catwoman. some Mr. Freezes, some Banes, even some Two-Faces. But the crew has shown up to rob the place, which is a little easier to do in a costume party, especially when everyone's dressed as a criminal. But it turns out to be Firefly's gig. But Batman shows up in a Killer Croc costume. Nice little nod to one of the best episodes of Batman the Animated Series. Almost got him. But Firefly burns the costume off him, revealing that, oh, it's Batman. And things get worse for the crew. Batman takes him down, signs an autograph for a little girl there dressed as Punchline. And swings off. And he explains he's not used to Gotham, and he tells Barbara he's not used to Gotham celebrating him. And she asks what he did, what we usually do for a big case. I mean, there's a series of flashbacks. Him and Gordon talking about things in front of the Bat Signal. Him and Robin in the Batcave. Him and Selina on a rooftop. Him and Clark. Him and Alfred playing chess. But, Nightwing arrives with coffee and breakfast for himself and Barbara, and however, a news blimp has caught Bruce's eye. Members of Batman Inc. have been arrested. Man of Bats, El Gaucho, Batman of China, the Dark Ranger, and the Hood. So, Bruce goes to Badinska. I'm not trying to pronounce it actually, where they were arrested. Apparently it said they killed a creature known as Abyss, and they confessed. But a local officer finds a trace of Abyss at the scene. Batman suggests you not touch it. He takes a sample, goes into things, learns who Abyss was. Finds out, yeah, it actually does seem like Batman Incorporated did take him down. But and he briefly goes over the history of Batman Incorporated and how, and she basically is it funded by that billionaire guy, and Batman. So Bruce Wayne's no longer. It's been shuttered. Bruce Wayne no longer has the funds to support their mission. However, but she clarifies she's not talking about Bruce Wayne. She's talking about Batman Incorporated's new benefactor, Lex Luthor. And that is where the issue ends. Okay, interesting. There are a few ways I can think of to really, few things one can do to really piss Batman off, piss Bruce Wayne off, than Lex Luthor taking over funding for something he was running. So yeah, good call, and I don't mind seeing. I enjoy the idea of Lex as being kind of everyone's villain, but primarily Superman villain. So yeah. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Arkham City: Order of the World, number 3. Where we left off, Azrael had decided to go after Dr. Joy, who had discovered that thanks to the Ten-Eyed Man, that if you overlay a map of Arkham over the map of Gotham, there actually are some odd things track, kind of. So the issue begins with Dr. Joy visiting Detective Stone in the hospital, asking him what happened. He was grazed in the temple with a bullet. It was just a graze. He's okay, but yeah. Of course, she can't tell him that, you know, what's been going on with her, because, well, yeah. But what has been going on is that the previous night, her and the Ten-Eyed Man were scooping air into containers. But they do more for his map. We see some snippets of what's going on with some of the others, such as Dr. Phosphorus, the apartment he lived. He and I don't know the name of the other villain living there with him, but their neighbors are beginning to experience some signs of radiation poisoning. One of them is brushing out hair every time she runs a brush through it. The other one is losing teeth anytime he bites into something. But Dr. Joy and the Ten-Eyed Man go and pay a visit to none other than Solomon Grundy. Ten-Eyed Man talks him down, and they talk about things while Azrael investigates the good doctor's apartment. And, well, yeah, realizes something sinister things have occurred. But as Solomon Grundy is speaking his rhyme, to a degree, Ten-Eyed Man realizes, kind of, to the Ten-Eyed Man, everything Grundy says is nothing. Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, so on and so forth, is not what he's actually saying. He's actually passing on information, which Ten-Eyed Man then passes along to the good doctor about the goings on in Gotham past and present. As they continue on, they find a hole and they dig through where there's a skull inside, and Dr. Joy asks if the skull is none other than Grundy's skull, when they are attacked by none other than Azrael, who starts off his assault by decapitating Grundy. But and while fighting Ten-Eyed Man, however, all three of them look up and see none other than the ghost of Amadeus Arkham, and that is where the issue ends. Interesting, very interesting. At the halfway point, so anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Joker Presents a Puzzlebox, number 5. Where we left off, tales were being spun not just by the Joker, but also by various other members of Gotham's costumed underworld concerning the death of the Riddler and what appeared to be a piece of apocalyptic technology, the Master Engine. This issue, we got the story of a meetup. Everyone showed up, all to deliver pieces of the engine. A fight broke out. Then the engine itself was put together, and nothing happened. And the engine was taken, apparently, by Batman. After having been in a fight with some of the others that were brought in, Catwoman convinces the officers guarding the cells to let her clean up. So she uses the opportunity to sneak into the vents, passes along some information to Mad Hatter, swipes a gun, and does something to Riddler's corpse. She then returns to the cell with a peace offering to Deathstroke. The cell keys, and a gun. The information about the meetup is passed along to the officers interrogating Two-Face, and he was in a warehouse? Big whoop. He tells his version of things, except that he says Riddler wasn't there. Riddler didn't show. Joker was there, though. And, in fact, according to Harvey, he took the box. Penguin finds the whole thing ridiculous, adding that, yes, Riddler wasn't there. Joker was. And he took the box. Harley tells her version of things. Again, no Riddler. Yes, Joker. And she took the box. Mad Hatter has a similar version of things, only he takes the box and is promptly stolen by Harley Quinn, who then has, but it turns out he and Harley both had a decoy. The real one was in the custody of none other than Batman. One of the donuts is being poisoned. Bullock goes to grab one to give to Joker, while the rest of the box is taken by Killer Croc, who promptly starts them all up. Doesn't know anything, though. And it looks like the poisoned donut is the one that was brought to the Joker in the beginning. Has been brought to the Joker in the very beginning of the issue. And that is where the issue ends. Which brings us to our last book for the moment, Batman 89, number 4. Sadly, I was not able to get the B cover this time around, but yeah. Oh well. So, where we left off, District Attorney Harvey Dent had the left side of his face badly burned. Things were not looking good. As per usual, Gotham City seems to be, Gotham City. A march through Gotham is of African American residents is, of course, being stopped up by the GCPD, but apparently Gotham's new Robin manages to get some gifts to the protesters, cans of spray paint, which are used to make Harvey Bullock and crew look ridiculous. Sure. Turns out, though, that that Alfred has some information. Alfred has a microfilm concerning some facts about Gotham history concerning locations that have been at the center of things in the story and the past. At the hospital, Harvey's wanting to see how bad his face is. Barbara calls Bruce saying that things are real bad and wants him to call her when he can. That night, Harvey slips out of his room, steals a card, and finds himself a mirror. Takes the bandages off and sees the damage that's been done. And proceeds to have a conversation with himself, with the damaged part of his face. What Bruce Wayne learns from the microfilm is that Wayne Motors acquired Winston Automotive in a forced buyout many, many years ago. Winston Motors having been owned by the ancestors of the young boy who helped Bruce out during the fire, who has since been invited to the manor. Kid tries to get Bruce to say who he is. Bruce swears up and down, Catwoman did it. But he claims to have a vial of battery acid and chucks it at it. Bruce tries to fight him off. It turns out to just be water, but very much kind of a, okay, yeah. Kid figured out that Bruce is Batman. And so he has decided that he'll be staying for dinner. Elsewhere, Selena Kyle goes to meet with Barbara Gordon to look at the GCPD's computer system and what's going on with them. And, Two-Face steals some information from his office, heads into the subway, and finds an incomplete subway station, which is very much, one side is dilapidated, one side is seemingly in well repair. Perfect fit for him. But after dinner, Bruce shows off the Batcave. And gets a partner out of it. And that is where the issue ends. It's a fun ride. I think that had this been made into if this had ended up being the third Batman movie, I think it actually would have been a really solid movie. But anyway, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock telling off saying, live long and rock hard.